the Las Vegas Raiders in an NFL, when you play bad football, when you play really bad football, you move up in the draft order. And the Las Vegas Raiders potentially could finish the season with the number one overall pick. But the question is, do we trust the Las Vegas Raiders with the number one overall pick to do right by a quarterback?
Thought about this a lot today as I was preparing. And the reason that this topic gets brought up is because when you think about the NFL draft, there is a name when you talk about biggest busts in NFL history. The last
Mhm.
time the Oakland Raiders at the time had the number one overall pick, they selected Jamarcus Russell, who is mostly considered by most media members, most people around the NFL, to be the biggest bust in NFL history. And this is something that's going to be brought up constantly if the Raiders have the number one overall pick. The reason that I feel differently and the reason that I have confidence in this team is because as much as this has been a struggle this year, I still have a lot of faith in the totality of the coaching career of Pete Carroll. I know who he is. I know that he can coach at every level in college, at the NFL level, and he's also a player's coach. He's high energy. He's been able to teach young guys. I think when you think about the guy that would be slotted to go there, Fernando Mendoza, I think personality-wise, that could be a really nice tandem. And the major difference is, and I think this is the part that's going to play the biggest factor, how much involvement does Tom Brady have at the ownership table with Mark Davis? Because
Mhm.
Al Davis was overly involved. Al Davis, his father, made a lot of decisions, especially towards the end of his life, bad decisions from an ownership perspective. Does Mark Davis sit back and let Tom Brady help this organization move in the right direction? Or does Mark get in his own way? Because guess what? Mark is paying a lot of coaches to not coach his team. He's paying John Gruden. He's paying Josh McDaniels. He's got guys that they've shipped in and out over the last few years. So I think that they're going to hold on to Pete Carroll. I think they're going to go, okay, you have an opportunity to draft your guy and go into the future. So I do believe that I have faith in, if they allow Tom to have a say and they allow him and Pete together collectively to run the show. If Mark gets in his way, it's not going to go so well. Not going to go so well.
Yeah, no, I'll answer the question. I trust them, and I trust them because of what you said, right? I don't think the old ownership, talking about Al Davis, I don't even think they hire a coach like Pete Carroll, right? And then bring a guy like Tom Brady into the building and let him sit in the coach's booth, right, in the box office so he can, help dissect the plays. And we know that
No
he's
chance
involved
Al
in it
Davis
because
would have done that. 0% chance Al Davis lets them do that.
yeah, 100%, right? Because it was a control thing for him. He was a version of Jerry Jones, right? A different version, the West Coast version of Jerry Jones. But I look at this Las Vegas Raiders ownership situation, and I think they want to win football games, right? Like that's what they're focused on, becoming a good football team. But there's one key piece in this too, the Pete Carroll thing, right? Pete Carroll is the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. When Jamarcus Russell got drafted to the Oakland Raiders, they had a young Lane Kiffin, right? And when you think about that combination, you almost get of course, it didn't work out, right? Lane Kiffin right now is a wild card. So you can imagine him with a young quarterback that was almost 15 years ago, right? 15 to 17 years ago. And him trying to find himself as a head coach, right? And then you're drafting a young quarterback, putting a franchise on top of him, and then you don't have the supporting system and the supporting cast around him. So I trust this version of the Raiders this time around if they get the number one overall pick.
I do as well. And if you haven't seen the many lives of Lane Kiffin, the 30 for 30 on ESPN, you should watch it because they discuss this. And at that moment, probably do as many strange press conferences as Jerry Jones has hosted. There is no stranger press conference than the Al Davis firing Lane Kiffin press conference, where
I
he
have to
just
watch that. I've never watched that documentary. I
he,
gotta check that out.
he has a PowerPoint that he goes on for 38 minutes discussing why, all text messages, emails, all the things that Lane Kiffin did. Lane Kiffin wanted to draft Megatron.
Yep.
And that, we all know who that player was and how great of a career he had. And Jamarcus Russell was the guy that Al Davis wanted, forced him into it. He hired Lane Kiffin, who was very young, very inexperienced as an NFL head coach. And he was younger than a lot of the veterans in that team and in that organization to be a puppet master. He was actually worse than Jerry is, if you can believe it. That is an all-time press conference. That version of the Raiders is so far gone. And you guys should all thank your lucky stars that Mark definitely brought Tom in because he wants to win and he doesn't want to do the same things that his dad did. So hopefully he continues down that path. But if you want to watch something funny, 38 minutes at Al Davis hosting a press conference and showing a PowerPoint about why Lane Kiffin got fired. It's all time.